On behalf of our presenting sponsors, Nike, Runner's World Magazine, and United Healthcare, welcome marathoners and half marathoners to beautiful Kiawah and your Team in Training Inspiration Dinner. We have an exciting program planned for you tonight. During the next hour, you're going to meet some people who are involved in this great event. You'll be reminded why you've embarked on this journey, the real reason to make a difference in the battle against blood cancers. You'll hear us say again and again, thank you, because we mean it, and each and every one of you deserve our thanks. And hopefully you'll be entertained. I watched Jim Valvana's famous speech on ESPN a few weeks ago. If you haven't seen it, then YouTube it. You may recall that the dying NC State basketball coach said you should try and do 3 things every day. He said if you can laugh, if you can think, and if you can have your emotions move to tears all in the same day, that's a heck of a day. We're going to try and do that in the next hour. A year ago tonight, I sat in your seat preparing to run my first marathon. And I was a little nervous. But I've been part of the Charlotte team who had trained for 4 months, and I knew that I was ready. It was going to be a great day, and it was. I finished the full marathon in a very respectable time, and it is one of the greatest accomplishments of my life. You see, before that, I'd run 2 10Ks in my 44 years. One on a dare at age 18, one when I lost a bet at age 36. I wasn't due to run again until I was 54 years old. Now I've got the bug. It's been a crazy year. Tomorrow will be my 8th half marathon in the last 14 months to go along with last year's Kiawah full. It's been like an out-of-body experience. Quite frankly, I have no idea who this person is that I've become. I've even had some friends and family dare to call me a runner, but I am quick to point out I am not a runner. I'm a long-distance endurance athlete. You can use that line. If you're a gambler, you've got long odds that on my running that I'd run that far without somebody or someone chasing me. About the only longer odds you get would be that I'd be diagnosed with one of the rarest forms of blood cancer. On a Sunday in July of 2009, I tried to donate blood as I had done for 30 years of my life. But I was deferred for the 2nd time in a month because I had a low red count. I knew something wasn't quite right, so I went to my doctor on a Monday. I was in the oncologist on Tuesday, and on Wednesday I was diagnosed with hairy cell leukemia, right out of the textbook. I went in 4 days from being trying to be a blood donor to being a leukemia patient. I was one of only 500 new cases of HCL diagnosed in the U.S. each year. That's not the lottery you want to win. As recently as 1984, remember that date, there were no suitable treatments for hairy cell leukemia. But thanks to the efforts of a lot of smart doctors, nurses, and researchers, many of whom are supported by LLS, the current protocol, the standard treatment for HCL, achieves a 95% remission rate. I'm in a clinical trial at National Institute of Health, NIH, up in Bethesda, Maryland, that takes that protocol and adds a second drug commonly used in lymphoma cases. I'm the 3rd person in that clinical trial. Now there are about 20, and all of us are in remission, 100%. I received my diagnosis the day before I went to my 25th high school reunion, the very day before. Starkville High School in Starkville, Mississippi, class of 1984. It's amazing to see the changes that can happen over the course of 25 years. Some of my classmates are now graying or bald. The scientific genius is now a landscaper. The dumb jock basketball star is now a neurosurgeon. And we've gone from a 0% to a possibly 100% remission rate for patients of hairy cell leukemia. That's truly amazing. Tonight's going to be a lot of fun. We're here to acknowledge and thank you for all your efforts, to further motivate and inspire you for your event tomorrow. You deserve to celebrate the culmination of your training and fundraising efforts. You know, there's a great article in Sports Illustrated a year ago commemorating the supposed 2500th anniversary of the first marathon in ancient Greece. You may recall that in historical context, Phidippides ran 25 miles from Marathon to Athens to report victory over the Persians. When he got there, he cried out, "We have won!" And then he collapsed and died. But here's where the accounts differ, because we don't know if he ran out of goo or if the coaches didn't put out enough water spouts. But then the article transitions into current day marathons and the reasons why crazy folks like us run them. Reasons like getting in shape, remembering the death of a loved one, celebrating the lives of others, making new friends, losing weight, crossing something off a bucket list, raising money for a great cause, celebrating their own lives. I know that all of these reasons and many others are represented in the room tonight. The team and training program is truly amazing in that it enables all of these wonderful motivations. LLS is the leading nationwide organization in the fight of blood cancers, and TNT fundraising efforts have had a huge impact on research and services we fund. For instance, since our inception, LLS has invested more than $814 million in research to fund the causes and cures of blood cancers. In fiscal year 2011 alone, LLS supported research in the U.S., Canada, and 10 other countries to the tune of $77 million dispersed for research. LLS continues to solicit and support research focused on improving blood cancer patients' quality of life after curative therapies. This year alone, LLS identified 3 underdeveloped research areas in which progress is likely to improve outcomes for patients with particularly urgent needs. Research proposals were actively recruited, and new research grants have been awarded in the areas of the malignant stem cell and AML and MDS, non-cutaneous T-cell leukemias and lymphomas, and high-risk myeloma cases. In addition, Team and Training has prepared more than 540,000 people to achieve their dream of completing a marathon, a half marathon, a triathlon, or a 100-mile, a century bicycle ride or hiking adventure. These participants have raised over $1.2 billion to support blood cancer research and patient services. TNT continues to be a strong fundraising force because of the active support of participants like you. So thank you very much. Now this is the interactive part of the program. So everybody's going to get up and stretch. I want all the first-time marathoners and half marathoners to stand up. Stand up. Tomorrow you'll join a very elite and exclusive group, as about 0.2% of all Americans have run a half or a full marathon. Now special thanks go out to our alumni, because without you we'd have no history or the ability to look forward. Anybody who's previously done a TNT event, please stand and stay standing. On behalf of the entire organization, thank you very much for all that you do. Carefully. No, don't sit down yet. If you've done 2 or more TNT events, stay standing, please. 3 or more. 4 or more. That's what we do all night. 5 or more. 6 or more. 7. 8. 10 events, right? 2, 4, 5. That's all right. All right, let's you got to help me now. We'll be here all night. How many events?
This will be 28.
28. I should have ended with them. How about you? 18. 11, 12. And 2 over here. 13. 13? 13. Now for some really exciting news. These individuals we've just recognized, the first timers and the alumni, 64 participants with TNT from North Carolina and South Carolina have raised over $180,000 this season. That's amazing what a committed group of people can do in such a short period of time. But you know, in every group there are overachievers too, and this top 10 group is no exception. So we're going to call out the top 10 fundraisers for this season. We're going to ask you to come forward because we have a certificate for you, and we also have this really cool bib that you can wear along with your race bib tomorrow. So I'll ask Sandra to come up here and help me, please. Now, from the home office in Cary, North Carolina, these are the top 10 fundraisers for the 2011 winter season. Number 10, raising $3,495, Sandy Hurt. Please come forward. Number 9, with $3,515, Ashley Elizabeth Jones. Running late, okay. Number 8, $3,700, Kay Abrams. Number 7, $3,823, Linda Barbelo. Stand here, we're going to take a group picture. Linda, thank you. Number 6, with over $4,000, $4,080, Vivian Morris. Number 5, $4,206, Patricia Rode. Number 4, $4,765, Jennifer Bila. Number 3, with over $5,000, $5,065, Betty Mitten. Number 2, $7,618, May Toms. And I don't have a drum roll, but the number 1 fundraiser, thank you very much, for the 2011 fall winter season with $11,057, Lisa Anderson.
Apparently. I guess so. Yeah.
Isn't it? Look at that.
Thank you very much. Now I'd like to recognize some of the people who have helped us during our journey to become a TNT athlete. This first group you met for the first time at an informational meeting several months ago. They helped you with your fundraising. They answered your questions, convinced you weren't crazy, coordinated your travel, and have worked very hard to make sure your whole experience, including this weekend, is one that you'll never forget. To the entire staff of the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society, please stand. We'd like to recognize you. Now, this next group of individuals have transformed you into these long-distance endurance athletes that we're calling ourselves. They've helped you become, in many cases, they've taken you to fitness heights you'd never dreamed possible. Not only have they gotten you to the starting line, but they're going to make sure you get to the finish line tomorrow. And I got to tell you a quick story. Last year, two of our teammates, one of them was a leukemia survivor, in fact, were still out on the full marathon course as the morning went on. We heard that they were getting close to the finish, and several of us went out to the finish line to cheer them on. And if you've run this race, you know they rounded that last corner, and they had, turns out they were the last TNT participants out on the course, and they had a phalanx of coaches personally escorting them to the finish line. I'm starting to get goosebumps. And just as they rounded that corner, and this crowd started to cheer, the coaches just kind of faded into the audience. I thought, you know what? They want the finish line to be about the participants, and that's a story a picture that I will never forget, and it just goes to prove that the coaches are amazing people. Thank you very much for all that you do. Please stand, Now, there are also amazing individuals who come back who were once first-time participants. They volunteer and support us first-timers and alumni through fundraising and help guide us on our TNT journey. Would all the mentors and captains please stand, because we'd like to acknowledge you as well. Mentors and captains, please. Now, there's an interesting group of TNT coaches, local and national board members, LLS staff, and family and friends of staff and they're called Team Purple. We have 7 Team Purple participants here. Say that 5 times. 7 Team Purple participants here with us tonight, and we'd like to recognize them as well. They are Mike Ferretti, Elliot Blue, please stand and we'll hold our applause to the end, Lauren Blue, Bob Mills, Susan Sanders, Polly Floyd, and Janelle Jackson. Please join me in saying thank you to our Team Purple. Thank you, the lovely Vanna Clancy will help us here. And now the most important group of all, the inspiration behind your training, the reason you have asked your friends and neighbors to contribute. The patient heroes with us tonight, who represent the patient heroes throughout the country. Please hold your applause as I ask Brian Gift to stand, Jennifer Bila, Jennifer's here, Jennifer. Oh, there she is, Jennifer, thank you, and Doug Pierce. Brian and Jennifer have trained this season, will run the half tomorrow, and Doug, whom you'll meet in a few minutes, is the honored hero for the Charlotte team this season, and he'll be running the half tomorrow as well. Let's clap for our running. And I'll ask all cancer survivors and those who are undergoing treatment, all of our heroes, to please stand so we can recognize you. Inspiration. You know, we value and appreciate each and every one of you and what you've accomplished. And I hope that your TNT involvement this season is just the first step in a long-lasting relationship, as you've heard several people in this room have had with LLS. Because LLS is an organization worthy of our investment of time, talent, and resources. You know, the best part of our program is our mission. And some of you may have had no connection to our cause prior to joining TNT, but hopefully now you can see that due to your efforts, you're providing hope to countless families. While we make great strides every year towards finding a cure for these blood cancers, our work is not yet done. Lives are lost in the battle. We have set up an angel tree tonight to hold the names of our personal honorees, of those friends and family you are participating in honor or in memory of. And if you filled out one of the cards earlier when you checked in, it's on the tree already. And if you didn't get an opportunity to after the program tonight, you can go fill out a card and we'll hang it on the tree. Now I'd like to ask you to join me in a moment of silence as we do a couple of things. First, think about the journey you've been on for the last 4 months, who you've become and why you succeeded. Think of your inspiration, your honored heroes. Most importantly, think of those who bravely continue to fight and honor those who have lost their battle. Thank you. Our next speaker is a person who can tell you firsthand about the difference Team in Training and LLS has made in his life and his journey to find hope. He's originally from Rhode Island, but moved to Charlotte, North Carolina about 3 years ago. He's a husband and father of 3 kids, all of whom are here tonight. He's my arch nemesis at Words with Friends. He's got an amazing story. That's true. From the North Carolina chapter and the Charlotte team, please join me in welcoming Doug Pierce.
Everybody here that's joining me tonight. It's your first marathon, the 28th. All the money you've raised, that was just amazing amounts from everybody. Just for me personally, I thank you for that. Also just want to help thank all the staff and coaches here tonight that have made this possible and help all of you get to where we are for tomorrow. I also want to quickly thank my wife and children. My wife is not here. For standing by me and supporting me throughout, this past year and whatnot. So I was diagnosed with AML, acute myeloid leukemia, on April 30th, 2010. Now that's an important date, so please remember that. It's going to come up again a little bit later. I began having symptoms of headaches and fevers, to which I would take Tylenol, I'd take some Motrin, they'd go away, come back a little bit later, they come back the next day. And this went on for a couple days. And not wanting to go to the doctor, but my wife had pushed me to go and she made the appointment. And I went. And he's, tested me for strep, tested me for flu, took x-rays, did this test, that test, and everything just came back negative. And so he's just looking at me perplexed, and he's like, what is going on with you? So he said, well, let's do some blood work. So this was a Thursday, this is 29th. So he does some blood work. He says, all right, in the morning we're gonna get the results back, we'll figure out what's going on with you, and we'll take it from there. So I told him, I said, well, my in-laws are in town, we have tickets to go to a golf tournament the next day. I'm like, can I still do this? And he looked at me, he kind of shook his head, he's like, no, you're not doing anything, you're gonna stay at home, you're gonna get your rest, we're gonna figure out what's going on. So I'm walking out to the car with my wife, and I told her, I go, I'm still going. I mentioned I could be stubborn. So the next morning, we get up, get ready, father-in-law get ready, we get out the door about 9 o'clock, head out, and we weren't allowed to bring cell phones or cameras or any digital devices to the golf course. So I told my wife, whatever they say, whatever they come back with, I'm sure they'll find a way to get hold of me, call them, they can find me, whatever. Reluctantly, she agreed, so I left, and 20 minutes later, the phone rang, and it was my doctor, and he had some news that would change our lives. So my wife answered, and, he just immediately told her, blood came back, looks like leukemia, you need to get to a hospital right away. And I think I remember her telling me that she just literally dropped the phone. And luckily my mother-in-law was there, she picked up the phone between the two of them and talked to the doctor and figured out what was going on. And said, okay, we know what we gotta do. Well, now they had to find me. And it was gonna be like finding a needle in a haystack. So I was in the middle of 30,000 other people, no contact with the outside world, no cell phone, whatnot. So she rushes down to the golf course and she gets a hold of the staff and tells them what's going on. And so they say, well, okay, we'll send some volunteers out, we have police here, they can look for him, what's he wearing? And he says, well, it was chilly that morning, so he put on a red sweatshirt, and he went out the door. And well, since I was fevering, I at some point took the sweatshirt off and wasn't wearing that anymore, so they weren't going to be able to find it that way. So they're out there looking for me. A couple hours had passed, we had some lunch, and there was some pictures here. Just real quick. We're at the golf. I found the picture of the picture here. This I took this year, not the year of the diagnosis, but so we're at this particular hole, and we're sitting there, and I was just getting some rest, and across the way there was a big electronic sign, and they put player stats and information and whatnot, and all of a sudden up pops my name, and I didn't see it at first, but my father-in-law did, and he nudges me and says, your name's up on the board, what's it doing there? so I look over, and well, it was there, and I'm like, they spelled my last name wrong, but it was me, and I knew at that moment, I knew, okay, well, the lab results came back, they found something, never expected to be this, but they found something, I had a sense of relief, like, all right. So we make our way to the information booth, and there I see my wife and my mother-in-law just standing there. They had the most stoic, long, drawn faces. And I'm like, well, what's wrong? I mean, like, it can't be that bad. And so my wife kind of pulls me aside and says, she didn't hesitate either. She said, you have leukemia. And at that point in time, I had every emotion possible just hit me at once. I was angry, I was confused, I was in disbelief, I was laughing inside, so I'm like, this can't be true. She's, it just, everything hit me at once, and we just kind of took it in stride at that point. And from there, we went home. I got some stuff, got some belongings, and we, in the meantime, the doctor had, we had appointments with the doctors, and they had to go see, and we ended up going to Wake Forest Baptist Medical Center in Salem. They were waiting for me, and that was Friday night. And we get there, and there's doctors coming in, there's nurses, there's staff, and since it's a teaching hospital, they had med students coming in. There was just a flurry of activity, and in the middle of it all, I just turned to my wife, and I'm like, are you hungry? Because like I'm starving. It's like 8 o'clock this time. I'm like hungry again, and so she didn't. She wasn't hungry. I ate. So the weekend goes by, and they're taking blood. Put me full of IVs and fluids and medications and all that. By Monday, by Monday, they had found out the exact type of leukemia I had, because there's various subtypes and there's various types, as I mentioned, with this being different. And the one thing I'll remember about mine is just how, with mine, there's two chromosomes, chromosome 8 and chromosome 21. They literally split in half and switched. And I thought that was just the amazing thing for them to find out. They could actually tell down to that level, this is what caused it. But, Monday morning, they were ready for chemo, they were ready to, start the whole process. And I remember these two nurses coming in because they did everything in pairs for safety reasons. And they come in with this tiny shopping cart and it was, full of chemo. And just remember sitting there staring at it thinking, oh my God, this is really gonna happen. I've heard about people with cancer and I've heard about people getting chemo and I'm thinking, I'm actually sitting in bed and I'm actually gonna get this in a few minutes. And that just kind of hit me. So the first treatment was about a week long. It was 2 standard therapy drugs, and I opted in for a third trial drug. And first treatment was about a week long. After that, they let my body recover. They did a bone marrow biopsy to find out, how effective the chemo was. When the results of that biopsy came back, they said that when I first came in, my blood was 60% saturated with leukemia cells. After the first treatment, it was less than 1%. And that was like, it was like we were erupted. We were just so happy, so thankful, so blessed that I responded so well. However, the fight wasn't over. I still had to have 3 booster treatments. That was just standard therapy, standard treatment. And those were to happen approximately every 8 weeks. And that was just to ensure that every last cell, every last bit of it, was taken care of. So being in July, roughly end of August, and then in October I had a treatment. In October, right before my third treatment, we got a pamphlet in the mail for Light the Night. And I was ecstatic just to be a part of this and sign up for it. We had about 20 friends, family, co-workers that signed up, joined our team, raised a couple $1,000s. We did the walk, had a great time learning more about the organization. And that's when I first learned about the team and training. So at that point in time, I was like, well, let's look into this and see what we can do. And so we looked in, so kind of events were coming up in the spring. And we found one that just immediately popped out at me, and I said, I'm doing this one. I didn't care where it was, how much I had to raise, what it was involved. I had to do this particular one. So prior to this, my wife and I, we never ran a mile in our life. So this was going to be our very first event. So we signed up together. We raised $5,000, listed all our friends and families' support. And on April 30th of this year, April 30th, 2011, we ran, 1 year to the date of my diagnosis, a half marathon in Nashville, Tennessee. And that was to signal, our fight and our end to this chapter of fighting the leukemia. By the third treatment, I was in remission, fully remission, so that was a signal that ended it. However, there's something I learned and something I saw that during the training was a saying that said, if you think running a marathon is hard, try chemotherapy. And I'm sure many of you have seen that or read it. And I find this to be very profound because I've done both. I've done half and obviously had the chemo. And while the similarities are that with chemo and training for an event that it's both a mental and physical challenge, the difference is that you can prepare for the mental and physical challenges of training for an event, but you can't prepare for the effects mentally and physically that chemo will put on you. And that's why I look at all of you, and I think all of you are the heroes here tonight, because you've stepped up and you've taken on the challenge of signing up for an event and for fundraising to help further research, to find a cure, and just to help those that are in the throes of treatment with their leukemia or lymphoma. So tomorrow, when you're out there on the course and you're at mile 11 or at mile 23, and you starts to hit you physically and mentally, just remember that there's going to be a new patient that's just diagnosed, that just got diagnosed, that's going to be starting their first dose of chemotherapy, and they're going to be hitting their mental and physical challenges and dealing with those. So tomorrow, you're their hope, you're going to be their strength, and you're all going to be their hero. Thank you. Have a great run, and go team.
You know, there's one more group that Doug astutely mentions that we need to recognize, and I'll speak for all of the participants, and that's our support group. You know, our friends, our family, our peeps, our posse, our entourage. And so I know that you enjoy the carbo loading with us, but you've also been very helpful in everything that we've done as we have embarked on these journeys to raise money and to run these races. So if you're a support team member, will you please stand so that we can recognize you as well? My wife Martha this year. She's participated in team and training in 1995, and she's been very supportive of everything that I've done, obviously. So we got a little bit of housekeeping. Tough to follow Doug. Congratulations, Doug. Great job. We look forward to seeing you out there tomorrow. Housekeeping. Latest weather forecast. I checked about an hour ago. 8 o'clock, it'll be 38 degrees, mostly sunny, 10% chance of rain. It don't get much better than that. That's a credit to your staff. They set that up for us. Congratulations. Thank you very much. At noon it'll be 48, mostly sunny. Tomorrow morning, the team will meet at the grand staircase near the restaurant and shops. It's kind of on the other end of the sanctuary. We'll meet at 7 o'clock in the lobby. Now, when you get there, be sure and check in with the staff members so that they know that you're up and awake and that you're here, and they don't go looking for you. My notes here said look for the balloon cluster, but I got to thinking, if you see a group of 60 people wearing purple t-shirts, that's probably going to be us. We're going to take a couple of pictures. We're going to do one tonight. When this is all wrapped up, we'll do it down on that end. We'll move, I'm sorry, in front of the Christmas tree on that corner. We'll move that table out of the way. We want to get a picture of all the participants, and then we'll take one tomorrow morning as well at 7:15 on that staircase there in the lobby. Tomorrow, of course, there'll be a lot of coaches. There'll be 4 coaches, and I promise you will be glad to see them. And they will be looking for you. They'll be out in different zones, and you know, they'll kind of pick you up, and they'll run with you. They'll give you encouragement. They'll motivate you. They'll answer your questions. Then they'll hand off to the next one. And it's kind of interesting because, believe it or not, they'll run more than you do tomorrow. They put in a lot of serious miles. So our coaches tomorrow, I'm going to ask you guys to stand up, are Garrett Deacon, Bob Jackson, Heather Clancy, and Rudy Petty. So be sure to know who they are. If you've got any questions tonight about tomorrow, they'll be around after as well, and you can speak to them. Here's a tip that I got last year when I was training, and Steve Knox, one of my coaches last year, who's running tomorrow. I don't see him in the room, but he had a great bit of advice for me, and that's, you know, just before you turn that corner and you've got a couple hundred yards to go, stop for a second, walk, get your hair straight, make sure you look good, because, you know, that 10 seconds isn't going to matter. But you want to be looking good when you cross that finish line. That's good advice. That's good advice. Okay? So remember that. And also, the corollary to that is if you're running with a watch, don't cross the finish line like this. That's going to be an epic fail on your money shot picture crossing the finish line. Okay, cross the finish line, track 10, and that's what you ran. When you cross the finish line, go to the TNT tent and get a finisher's pin. That's something you want to collect. You know, those who have done it many times, you'll see them, and they've got a lot of them, and that's what you want. So you want to go to that tent, and that's how they keep track that everybody's finished. Let's see. You know, last year I went to the expo. I'd never run a full, and I wanted so bad. I wanted that 26.2 sticker. Right? You got to have the sticker. But I didn't want to jinx myself. And so I ran with $5 in my pocket the whole race. And I crossed the finish line, gave my wife a kiss, got a sip of Gatorade, and I went straight for that booth to get the sticker. Now, Team and Train's done a really cool thing, is they're having stickers made that say 13.1 and 26.2. And Abby Miller tells me that they will be mailed to you in the coming weeks. So just keep that in mind. Let's see. Survivor bibs. For those we've recognized and others, if you're a survivor of blood cancer, you're welcome to pick up one of these and put it on with your bib. They're out on the table outside. I went last year and got a lot of nice comments, and I really appreciate those, and I'll encourage you to do the same thing. Support crew. There are TNT cheer signs out on the table. There's some magic markers. You can write lots of cool things. I saw one at a race recently that said, "Motivational saying here." So think up something clever, and we'll look forward to seeing you out on the course. Lots of stuff for sale out on the table still. My wife and I did all of our Christmas shopping at 4:30. If you're in my family, you're getting a team in training shirt. But a lot of great deals. I'm being serious. A lot of great deals, and they assure me that they do not want to take it home. So I'll say it for them. We're dealing. Tomorrow night there'll be a victory celebration here in the Grand Oaks Ballroom. So that'll be a really good time. Just allow a little extra time to get to the buffet line and back. You'll be a little bit stiff. A couple of birthdays. Anybody have a birthday this weekend? Sandra Clancy from the team and training office. Today is her birthday. Happy birthday, Sandra. And I'll ask for your help because we do have some door prizes to give away. I think that for every $250 that you raise, your name went into the hat.
Over your bowl.
Or the bowl. And we're going to draw out some prizes here. What are we drawing for first, Sandra?
A team and training bag.
Team and training
Full of
bag.
all kinds of goodies.
Full of all kinds of goodies.
And the person, it is really? Happy birthday to you too!
I'm sorry, I asked.
We're good little
You see?
December
All
9th
right.
babies, aren't we?
Start us off, Gwen.
Okay, so...
Happy birthday
Happy birthday to you. We'll pretend. Happy birthday, dear. Thank you. Okay, now we're going to have 3 different winners. So if you win once, you don't win again.
Okay, so this is the bag full of stuff.
And it is for Ashley Jones. This is a gift certificate for Massage Envy.
Wow.
The lucky winner is. Lisa Anderson. All right. Now this one's the big deal.
This one is pretty cool. It is a one night in a garden view room at the sanctuary at Kiawah Island. So watch.
All right. You, my friend, are going to pick the lucky winner. 10B. I don't want to say it. I'm going to I would not have said that.
I think you just invited me to the sanctuary. Did you just invite me to come to the sanctuary?
Yay! Fabulous.
Any other housekeeping, Sandra? Anybody got anything else?
I don't think so. I think we're good.
You know, during my journey, I've met a lot of amazing people. I've met really smart and caring doctors and researchers who are working hard to develop better treatments and cures for all kinds of blood cancers. Many of those efforts are supported by LLS. I've met wonderfully compassionate nurses and technicians who feel a true calling to help cancer patients. I've met other blood cancer patients who are far sicker than I, yet still have amazing outlooks on life. And I've met an inspiring group of people who meet on Tuesdays and Saturdays and run together. TNT staffers, coaches, mentors, and my teammates. As the TNT website says, together we train to beat cancer. Together we train to beat cancer. Today there are 957,902 people in the United States living with a blood cancer. You've touched my life and many others like me in a very profound way, and for that I'm grateful. I'll speak for my fellow patients and say thank you. You've given us the strength and power to persevere. So tomorrow's race day. And whether you're running your first big race or you're a seasoned marathon veteran, it's going to be a tremendous challenge. Just remember, you've got 9,000 957,898 people, plus Jennifer, plus Brian, plus Doug, plus me running with you. Let us give you the strength and power to persevere. We'll see you at the finish line. Good luck. Go team.